Thank you to eFulfillment Service for sponsoring today's video. Check them out if you plan on publishing your own board game so they can handle the logistics of getting your game out into the world. 17 board game designers from all over the world received a mystery box of components I picked out for them from the Game Crafter. On October 4th, they were finally able to open up the box to see what was inside. Then they had 24 hours to make a game using at least one of each of these components. For the past week, people have been voting for their favorite, and in this video, I will announce the winner of the People's Choice Award, the Designer's Choice Award, as well as my pick. And spoiler alert, the winners are all different, so 3 designers will receive an award, which shows just how strong these submissions were for this jam. If you want to watch all of the videos created by the designers showing their games, I'll link to that compilation video right here, as well as in the description of this video. So, what was in the box? The components for the jam were 50 blank hex cards, 10 green crystals, 10 black cubes, 1d6 with different symbols on it, 10 red drops, 10 purple gems, 1 hinged stone door, 10 yellow octagonal cubes, and 5 keys. Designers had to use at least one of each of these items in their game. They were allowed to modify the components and were allowed to add other components to their game. Now, before announcing the winners, I want to go over each of the games and share my favorite things about each of them. If you want to jump straight to the winner announcements, you can jump to this timestamp here. Starting with Bazaar by Mike Headley. This is a trick-taking game where players add different stalls to a bazaar, with the buildings changing the rules of the game as they are added. I love how players can add more stalls if they're able to lose a trick for a specific color, or if they are the first to win enough tricks to claim a key. That is a great thematic tie-in, with the keys being able to open new buildings. I enjoy how the die increases the pressure and tension in the game, since if enough swords are rolled, that will trigger the end of the game. So you want to try to make sure you get everything done you want to before time runs out. This is a very clever game that mixes trick-taking with tableau building of different stalls that affect the rules of the game, which would keep the players constantly on their toes. Next was Castle of Crystal Tears by William Ray. I love the story and lore that was created for this game. William tells us about how the player is an aspirant who is searching a land called Prisma for a castle that was built from crystalline tears, and that you must find a night shard key in order to access the hidden castle. You can imagine how cool the art could be for this game. Heck, I would want to read the accompanying novel about this land and how the castle came to be and what led to its downfall. Now, besides the immersive storytelling, there are a lot of cool things happening in this game mechanically. The player is faced with different decisions and encounters as they explore tiles. I like how the red effort tokens can be used to modify dice rolls in the player's favor. I'm intrigued by the secret cubes and the mirage tokens. There seems to be a lot of cool things to discover in this one. CoriDOOR by Gonyea is a highly streamlined and accessible game. This is a tug-of-war style game where 2 players battle each other across a row of cards in an attempt to be the first to collect all 6 artifacts. I'm a big fan of the artifacts players collect affecting their die rolls during combat, and not all artifacts affect die rolls positively. Mark says that they can either be bonuses or penalties depending on the artifact, so it seems you would want to time which artifacts you collect to earn positive artifacts earlier in the game. I could see this being a great game to travel with and pull it at a restaurant while you wait for your food. D&D at Doily Manor by Glynn needs to be turned into a TV show ASAP. The setting for John's game is a nursing home where the residents like to play Dungeons & Dragons, but apparently they need to play 5 levels underground in the spider-infested wine cellar. Maybe D&D isn't allowed at this nursing home, so the residents have to be sneaky about it. This is a cooperative game, and I really liked how John used the hex cards, where if a player is able to match all of the symbols in the corners of the 3 hexes, all players gain that benefit. This really highlighted the shape of the hex cards and how players can complete a pattern when 3 are connected. I enjoy the multiple lose conditions and the increasing difficulty as the group ventures further underground. I also love how at any time players can sing to each other to increase their courage. There are a lot of clever and fun touches in this game. I love how the door is centrally featured in Flick Flop by Yasaman Farazan. In this dexterity game, players have to collect keys to open the door and then try to flick their pieces through the door. There is a clear and defined win condition of whoever is able to flick all of their pieces through the door first wins. I find the idea of trying to run or jump through the door before it closes again very exciting, and even though the players are flicking tokens, I can imagine someone running and jumping through the door trying to escape. Yasaman has created a very strong visual in this game from the simple components. Speaking of a strong visual, the Kraken emerging out of the door in Guarding Atlantis by Goss is a real showstopper. You can imagine how cool this game would look as a published game. The table presence is off the charts. In this game, the Kraken has emerged from the stone door and scattered items all around. You are a scientist trying to recover the fuel cells caught in the Kraken's tentacles so that it doesn't poison itself. You're also trying to recover the treasure in the creature's grasp. Whenever you pick up items, any remaining items get pulled closer towards the door, and you will instantly lose if any of the yellow fuel cells get pulled through the door. If all items have been cleared from a tile, it is flipped and shows the tentacle retracting towards the door, which I found very clever. I enjoy the tension of the game as you try to recover as much as you can while items get pulled toward the door, and really like the puzzle of trying to group similar items so you can pick them all up in one go. Hex by Guy Ziv is another visually stunning game. Guy really highlighted the hex cards by creating a map where players can rotate cards to connect different colored lines to move along the paths. You do need to have the corresponding key card to pass through, so players will need to time their actions efficiently. The idea is that the players are trapped in this futuristic maze and need to find 2 keys and then get to the door. Throughout the game, the die is rolled and will cause the door to move around the outer edge of the maze. I can see this game having great pacing with snappy turns as each player only takes 2 actions per turn. I really enjoy the puzzle aspect of the game where players try to create the fastest route to the keys and the door by rotating tiles. I absolutely love the story of Keys to the Kingdom by Rachel Mullen. In this highly accessible game, players are traveling along the path towards the castle where they will encounter various obstacles and treasure chests. If a player defeats an obstacle, they earn gems. They will earn even more gems if they defeat an obstacle with a treasure chest. If a player earns 3 gems, they can trade them in for a key. The first player to reach the castle with a key wins. I can see this game being especially great for kids to teach them the building blocks of many games. In Riddles of the Rockies by Michael Bartlett, players have to decipher the locations referred to in different riddles and then travel to those locations. The goal is to be the first player to find the location of the final treasure. My absolute favorite part of this game is the system Michael created to check to see if your guess is correct. So once you travel to a location and you want to see if it's the correct answer to the riddle, you take that location card and line it up next to the riddle card, and if the lines match, you know your guess is correct. I thought that was incredibly clever. The riddles themselves are also very well written, and I recommend you pause the video to read them. I absolutely love how Anton, Berg, and his wife who co-designed the game utilized the door in their game RooD, or door backwards. In this game, if you roll a certain symbol on the die, that will swing the door to the other side and make the arrow point in the opposite direction, changing the direction the door will then move. I really appreciated how the door had a functional purpose in the game. Anton and his wife made the hex cards double-sided, with one side being the normal world and the other side being a twisted mirror realm. As the door moves around, it flips cards from their normal side to the mirror side. The players need to forge keys in order to close the door before their deck runs out. I really enjoy the narrative of this game as well as the puzzle aspect where you need to get 3 black cubes on the same path in order to forge a key. There are a lot of clever touches in this game. There are 2 phases in Joe Pasini's cooperative game Tabletop Demon Summoners. In the first phase, the group creates a summoning circle by matching hex cards in a circle around the door. In the second phase, the demon is summoned, but attacks the summoners and tries to escape. The group will roll a die to see which of their ritual components are removed from the summoning circle by the demon, and if any items from the inner circle are removed, they lose. I love the creativity that went into the theme of this game and how the components seem to really inspire the gameplay. I really enjoy the puzzle aspect of the game where the group tries to place items in and around the circle in a way that will hopefully protect them from the demon's attack. I can see how the tension in the game would rise as the demon's die continues to be rolled, removing items from the circle. The clear win-lose condition as well as straightforward turns makes this game very accessible. In Temujin's Tomb by Meandering Mike, you are exploring a hex map to try to find the door to the tomb of Genghis Khan, otherwise known as Temujin. Players defeat great cities to collect loot, including keys which will be needed once they're able to locate the door to the tomb. I really liked the historical details in this game, including the actual cities that were conquered during the era of Genghis Khan. All of the components from the mystery box work really well with the theme and the story of the game, as well as in the gameplay. In Trick or Treasure by Aaron L., players are pirates going trick-or-treating to collect candy that they can exchange for points, and because they are pirates and can't resist, will also be digging for treasure. This is a trick-taking game where players will play cards from their hand that have different suits and values, and if they're able to win the trick, they earn a bonus card that will earn them more goodies. But this game is also a worker placement game, so regardless of if you win a trick or not, players will place one of their workers on the space indicated on the card they played that trick. They will then earn the resource or action from that space. The resources, of course, being candy. Just look at these cute cakes, strawberries, chocolates, and hard candies. You might also want to collect a key so that you can unlock any treasure you discover, which is represented by scouts moving around a rondel. There is a lot of cool stuff happening thematically and mechanically in this one. You are lost in the woods and trying to find your way home in Wild Encounters by Stacie Hampton. In this game, players will be adding hex cards to the map that will add new worker placement spots for themselves and other players. If players are able to match one or two of the terrain types on the sides of the hex card, they earn bonuses. The key is used in a super interesting way in this game where it represents the player's movement as it spins around on an axis. But if the player rolls too much bad luck, their movement will be impeded. Players will interact with mischievous sprigs who may help them find the door to escape. The player that has the most magic after they're able to escape through the door wins. I love the whimsical feel of this game. Witch Whispers by Ping54 is a cooperative two-player game featuring a witch and their cat attempting to complete a blood ritual. Players will need to work together to create specific patterns of the red drop tokens, ensuring the door is open to complete the ritual. I love how the door needing to be open is a key component of the game, which really makes the door a functional part of the gameplay. I also really love how Ping made the green crystals ectoplasm swirling around a cauldron and the yellow octoboxes candles the players need to explore the hex cards. This game really emphasizes exploration, collaboration, and timing in order to win. Another game that did a great job making the door a functional part of the gameplay is XenoArcheologists by Joel Davis. Joel made the door an airlock on a spaceship that is always malfunctioning, causing havoc for the players. I was really impressed with how much game Joel was able to create in such a short amount of time. In this cooperative deck building game, you are scientists exploring a planet in an attempt to find artifacts. Each character has a distinct personality and abilities that will hopefully help them with their research of the planet. There are a lot of cool things happening in this game, like turn order being decided by a deck of cards that also have events that may derail the group's efforts. But the cards are not activated right away, so the players can plan how to respond to the sequence of events and turns. There's also a ton of replayability in this game as the win condition depends on the scenario for that game. I love how the keys are utilized in Z City by Marshall Murphy. The keys unlock more abilities and resources for the player, as you can see on this very cool player mat that even features recessed slots so the components won't get jostled around if you happen to bump it. In this game, players must survive a zombie attack by buying and placing hex cards and strategically positioning themselves before more zombies are added. The players will be able to unlock more abilities as they explore and add more cards to the map. They will have to manage their food and resources in order to survive in this very cool game that I'm sure would create a lot of tension around the table. So those were the 17 submissions for the first ever Mystery Box Board Game Jam. Now for the part you've all been waiting for, let's see who won the People's Choice Award, the Designer's Choice Award, as well as my pick. All of the winners will receive gift certificates for the Game Crafter. Thank you so much to the Game Crafter for sponsoring this jam. I'll link to their website if you want to check them out in the description below. Okay, so the 3 games that got the most votes for the People's Choice Award were Guarding Atlantis by Aaron Goss, Hex by Guy Ziv, and RooD by Anton Berg. And the winner with the most votes was Guarding Atlantis by Aaron Goss. Huge congrats to Aaron. Your game has such incredible table presence, and the tentacles retracting back into the door is such a cool mechanic. And congrats to Guy and Anton for their games Hex and RooD, 2 very cool and clever games. And now, the game that received the most votes from other designers in the jam and the winner of the Designer's Choice Award is XenoArcheologists by Joel Davis. Congratulations to Joel for creating such a substantial and well thought out game in such a short amount of time. Your game has so many clever touches and does a great job incorporating all of the mystery box components. And now for my pick, I scored each game on a scale of 1 to 10 for the following criteria. How well does the game utilize, integrate, and highlight the mystery box components? This could mean creatively using the components as is or creatively modifying the components. How innovative or intriguing is the game? And how enthusiastic do I think the game's target market would be to play it? I want to shout out 3 other games that received high scores as honorable mentions. They were Guarding Atlantis by Aaron Goss, Tabletop Demon Summoners by Joe Pasini, and Witch Whispers by Ping54. But my overall pick with the highest score was Trick or Treasure by Aaron L. Aaron did a fantastic job modifying some of the mystery components as well as taking inspiration from some of the other mystery components as is. I am obsessed with the little cakes, strawberries, and candies that Aaron made out of the tokens. Turning the tokens into candies was so unexpected and creative. But he also kept the keys as is and turned them into the keys needed to open treasure chests, which I really enjoyed. I love how players have interesting decisions to make throughout the game, including trying to time when to get a key and also trying to time the movement of your scout around the rondel to get to an empty space so they can dig for treasure. I can see players who enjoy trick-taking games being very intrigued by this game since it adds worker placement and rondel movement. This game was a real treat, both mechanically and thematically. Congratulations to all of the designers who participated in the first ever Mystery Box Board Game Jam. Please hype up the designers in the comments below. They made these games with a bunch of random components and made videos for their games in 24 hours. That is not easy to do, so please leave a nice comment below and share which was your favorite game. Let me know if you enjoyed this content and if you would like me to host another board game jam like this in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.